I wasn't going to tell a story, but my son wanted me to. So this is something that happened to us 2 years ago. In a similar situation like this, we had gone out to Eufaula with my aunt to hear some spooky stories. And it was in October, so the weather was still nice, not too cold. And it was at this gentleman's house, not in town, like outside of town. And they had food, bonfire, everything was outside. So we started eating, and everybody's getting ready to tell their stories. And they mentioned that there's a trail, like through the woods, just something fun out there to do. And I was thinking in my head that, you know, everyone would go as a group and walk through. It was still light outside, and so I waited a little bit. I thought people would start heading that way, but it didn't happen, and I really wanted to take my son. He was about 6 at the time, and so there was just a little bit of light left right before it started to get dark. And so I told him, well, I'll take you over there, you know, me and you, and we have a flashlight, we'll be fine. And so we walked through where everyone parked their cars, out to where this trail started. And I'm not a great judge of distance, so I'd say maybe about 100 feet from where like the bonfire and everything is. You walk through where everybody parked, and then there's the woods, and they have the solar lights lighting the trail. And like I said, there's still a little bit of light, so I'm not scared. So we go in and realize that, you know, with the trees, it's darker than we thought, so we pull out our flashlight that he had with him, which was a kid's flashlight and not helpful at all. And so I was like, well, let's just go a little bit further just to say, you know, we walked through this trail, because I didn't know where the trail came out. I was thinking, well, it can't be that far, so we'll go ahead and go on through. And so I'd say we walked maybe 100 feet or so, and the solar lights, like there's not as many, you know, as you get in further. And so I was like, well, we can turn around up here in just a little bit, it'll be all right. So we start walking on, and there's kind of like a point where I guess we have to kind of curve around. And he keeps telling me this whole way, he's like, let's go back, he's pulling on me. And I was like, no, you know, we can do this, we'll be all right. And we take a few more steps, and we hear something, and it's standing ahead of us, and it kicks the leaves, like, you know, just if you were standing in leaves in like December, and they're kind of, you know, pasture angels, they kick those leaves, and, you know, we jump, and I have to be the brave one when I'm really not. I'm probably one of the people that gets scared first and takes off, but, you know, I'm mom, so I have to be brave. And so I hold on to him. I was like, no, you're not leaving yet. You know, it's all right. Just stand here for a second. And I get that useless flashlight, and of course I can't see anything in front of me. And so I'm thinking, well, you know, it was an animal. We're in the woods. Something hurt us, and it took off. That's what those leaves were. I was like, well, let's find the way out of this place, and we'll go back, you know, to the stories. And so I take a couple of steps further in, and, you know, I've got his hand, you know, I'm kind of having to pull him. But, you know, I was like, we can do this, we're brave. And we hear it again, that thing, like, you know, it's just kicking leaves. And, you know, this time, you know, he's really trying to wiggle out of my hand. I was like, no, stay with me, we have to stay together, even if we are both scared. And I was like, it's all right, you know. And I'm thinking, you know, it's October. Okay, it's not an animal, because apparently it's still there. We didn't scare it, so it's probably not an animal. And so my second thought was, there's somebody out there, and it's their job to scare us. You know, this is, you know, October. This is a little trail. Maybe someone's just out there, you know, trying to scare people. You know, they'll jump out and they'll be like, you know, it'll be all right. So I start laughing, because I think, you know, I know what's going on, you know, someone's going to scare us, and I just start laughing. It's all right, you know, it's okay, someone's out there and they're just going to jump out, we'll be all right. And so I keep trying to pull him with me, because, you know, I've got this person, they're not going to scare me, I figured this out. And so I take one more step with him, and I hear a branch breaking. It's not like a stick, you know, that you can break yourself. This is like a branch. And I remember as a kid, we had like a wrestler or some kind of a bodybuilder come to our school, and he broke a baseball bat, you know, just to show off how strong he was. And that's what it sounded like. That's the closest thing that I can compare it to. And this big branch just broke right in front of us as we took, you know, our third set of steps towards this thing. And then that got me. I was like, okay, that's not a person. And you know, just hearing that, you know, I kind of jumped a little bit. And as I did, I let go of him, and he took off and left me. And I was like, you know, and again, you know, I'm trying to be brave, and I still think it's, you know, someone out there trying to scare us. You know, it hasn't really clicked that, you know, people can't break branches that big. And I look at him, and he's already gone. So that kind of shows I can't count on him sometimes when scary things happen. He kind of took off and left me. And so I actually walked back out of the woods. He took off, and he ran back to my aunt. And I know he made it because I can see, you know, the trail led straight, so you can see him. He's already run past all those cars, and I'm slowly walking out. And then, you know, after that night, you know, I talked with the people that were hosting it. You know, of course, they told me, you know, there's nobody out in the woods that was waiting to scare you. You know, there just wasn't anyone out there. And, you know, it hits me, you know, what it could have been. And it's you know, when things like that happen, it gets to you in that moment. You're scared, but a lot of people don't talk about afterwards, you know, having to deal with going to sleep, you know, the days and weeks afterwards, and having to build up that courage to go back out into the woods. So I think sometimes that's just as scary as that moment that scared you. So that was my little story I wanted to share that my son encouraged me to tell tonight.